How's it going, YouTube? It's BraxtonComix here, coming at you guys today with pretty much the last Pendulum Magician deck profile I'll ever do. I know I've only ever done one, but if you guys don't know the history behind it, then you haven't been a fan of my channel for too long. But got this support a little too late, but just in time for Nationals. But unfortunately I'm not attending Nationals, but I will be going down to Corpus Christi here pretty soon for some Pokemon Go, so if you're here on my channel for Pokemon Go, you came just at the right time. So this is pretty much going to be the last Pendulum Magician deck profile, and pretty much Pendulum deck that I profile it in general. So I'll explain why after the profile, but this is pretty much my build. All of the ratios are probably not to you guys' liking, but the joke's on you, simply because this deck isn't going to be any good post-link format. That's the whole reason. So let's get into this. So starting off with 2 copies of Chronograph Sorcerer and Astrograph Sorcerer. Now, these guys make up a bunch of different plays. For the first thing, Astrograph Sorcerer is level 7, Chronograph Sorcerer is level 6, and they both have a triggering effect that whenever you destroy a card on your field, whether by battle or card effect, you can reveal this card in your hand, special summon it, and depending on which one you choose, you get a certain effect. With Chronograph Sorcerer, you're able to summon another monster from your hand, while as with Astrograph Sorcerer, you're able to add a card with the same name that was just destroyed from your deck to your hand, which is super cool. Chronograph Sorcerer also has the ability for rank 6 plays, Astrograph obviously level 7, and those are pretty good. Also, Chronograph Sorcerer allows you to set Time Gazer Magician from your hand or deck in the scale by destroying it, which can also trigger Astrograph Sorcerer from your hand, which is pretty cool. It's the same thing for Astrograph Sorcerer, but with Stargazer Magician. I don't play that simply because it can be a dead hand, it can be a dead draw, and it's just not as good because of the pendulum effect. So these 4 are pretty stable in my opinion. I like them at these numbers so you don't see them all the time. Next up, 3 copies of Wisdom Eye Magician, one of the deck's key playmakers. If you open 2 of these turn 1 with some kind of protection, you've pretty much opened up the nuts, because if you also open with one of these guys, you have a level 7 or 6 on board with a good amount of attack without having to pendulum summon. Wisdom Eye coming to 3, I'm so happy about that. It was fine at 2 in my opinion, but it coming back to 3 just in time for Nationals, that's so much better. Following that up, the original Pendulum Editions, 1 copy of Dragon Pit and 1 copy of Dragon Pulse. I like both of these simply because, I mean, they go together first of all, which I really like. Dragon Pit destroys back grow, which is really cool. Dragon Pulse I don't actually use too often for Pendulum Scale, pretty much just for Pendulum Summoning or normal summoning if I absolutely have to. And I got these upgraded to the super rare from Pendulum Evolution, which is really, really nice. But these 2, I just felt like they've always been inseparable to me. I really like these guys a lot. Next up, the 1 Time Gazer Magician, same thing. Can't activate trap cards in the battle phase whenever one of your Pendulum monsters attacks, so that's pretty cool. Noble Dragon Magician, this is pretty much in here for Synchro Bait. Oath Dragon Magician, I feel like 1 is still a necessary number. It's good in the scale, it's good if you Pendulum Summon it, and it's still solid all around. Xiangke Magician, this is just one of my absolute favorite magicians. No Xiangsheng, unfortunately, pretty much because of the fact that its scale is really bad if you have more cards than your opponent, I think. I don't really know because I mainly focus on playing this guy, and he's really good against decks with light monsters, so you can negate them once per turn, which is pretty cool. Level 7 bait as well, so can't forget about that. Next up are the new magicians. I play 2 copies of Double Iris Magicians. See what I did there? 2 copies, Double Iris? Yeah, you don't. Anyway, I see the logic behind a lot of people playing 3 because it's probably just a better number, but I feel like if you open too many high scales, you're not going to see too many low scales, and that's why I'm only playing 2 of him. If he's destroyed by a card effect or battle, you're able to add a time Pendulum Graph from your deck to your hand. Sorry, space or time Pendulum Graph, because there's a spell and a trap that both have Pendulum Graph in their name, which is pretty good. And his Pendulum effect is that you can target a Dark Spellcaster type monster you control, and if it battles an opponent's monster this turn, it can inflict double battle damage, but then this card's destroyed, which will also trigger its monster effect, which is really, really nice. 1500 isn't the biggest body, but it is a search target for Odd Eyes if you have to activate it in the scale, which normally you're not. And that's one thing that a lot of people don't seem to remember when building this deck, I guess, is that there's not too much protection in this deck, so I'm playing the Sky Iris engine basically, and that's why. Next up, one Harmonizing Magician. A lot of people are going to hate me for this, but I feel like it is a really strong card, don't get me wrong. But the fact that it is a scale 8, like a bunch of other cards in the deck, Double Iris, Time Gazer, Dragon Pit, Chronograph, and yeah, sure, Wisdom Eye can unclog your scales, but the fact that if you open up Pendulum Call, and you won't be able to activate Wisdom Eye's effect from the Pendulum scale if you activate it, Pendulum Call. So, Lightwing Magician's also there to fix high scale problems. It's a scale 1, which I really like. Purple Poison Magician. This is probably one of my absolute favorite of all the Magicians, simply because of its effect to gain 1200 and then it's destroyed in the scale, and then its monster effect will destroy a face-up card on the field, which is so nice. And then Black Fang Magician. I pretty much just use it in this deck for the sake that it's a Magician. Pretty much just use it for the name, but its effects are alright. It really is alright. So, yeah, a lot of people are going to disagree with me on these numbers. Maybe not so much on Lightwing Magician, since if it's Pendulum Summon, it's banished if it's used for Synchro material, but definitely the numbers on everything else. Following that up, the Odd Eyes engine, 1 Mirage Dragon, 2 Pendulum Dragon. These are pretty much all the searches for Sky Iris that you have in the deck. I don't play Odd Eyes Fusion simply because it can clog if you don't have the right materials, and sure, you have the materials in your extra deck, but you're not always going to have them in the extra deck, and I'll tell you why later. Next up, the lovely 3 Skullcrab Jokers off of the Forbidden Limited list. So nice to have this at 3. I bought these right before the hype train blew up, let me tell you. It was almost impossible. I'm glad I got these when I did. But Skullcrab Joker, no matter what, he's going to be one of your strongest playmakers, and we still can have Stratos back, but we can have this guy at 3, so it's Konami. I mean, what are you guys going to do, right? Next up, Luster Pendulum. Another reason why the deck is so good. One of my favorite plays is actually activating Sky Iris alongside this, and cards like Double Iris Magician, because that can actually unclog your hand. So you can activate Sky Iris, then Luster Pendulum, followed by Double Iris, pop Double Iris with Luster's effect, get another copy of this, search off one of the Pendulum Graph cards, which is really nice, and then you can destroy Luster Pendulum with Sky Iris to get Pendulum Dragon or Mirage Dragon if you want, which is really, really cool. And the last monster I play is Tuning Magician. Well, they obviously, nah, just kidding. But it's great in the graveyard no matter what. It's also good food for Time Star Magician, who I'll get to later. You can special summon it, you can normal summon it. It's a level 1 tuner, which is my favorite thing about the whole card. I wouldn't originally have played it in my other deck simply because the Synchro plays weren't as heavy last year, I guess. But that's all the monsters. 3 copies of Sky Iris to start us the spells. This is the protection, as I said before. 3 copies of Duelist Alliance, Shadows to you, Zane Rolbs. Duelist Alliance, one of the most powerful search cards in the game, I think, especially just for pendulums. Add anything that has pendulum in its name, as long as you have something in your scale, which is absolutely phenomenal. One of my favorite cards out of Maximum Crisis. I wish it came sooner, but whatever. I played 2 copies of Pendulum Call, because I don't want to clog with it as well, and I don't want to have to discard it, and I can search it off of Duelist Alliance, which is amazing. This also gives a nice amount of protection and versatility. Sky Iris, pretty much there for the same reason. I'm really focused on having a decent amount of protection, but considering how much popping happens in the deck, you really need to worry about that. 2 copies of Star Pendulum Graph and 2 copies of Time Pendulum Graph. These guys also offer really good protection from spells and traps appropriately, but Star Pendulum Graph is the one that allows you to search for another magician whenever a magician pendulum monster from your pendulum zone or monster zone leaves the field. It's a once per turn, so it's not terrible. But Time Pendulum Graph is really nice because if you have used Pendulum Call already, and you go in and activate Time Pendulum Graph, you target one of the cards in your Pendulum scale. It won't be destroyed by this card's effect, and then you can just send a card from the field to the graveyard if it can't be destroyed, which is really, really nice. Same thing if you activate Time Star Magician's effect. Really, really nice. Both of these cards, just amazing. And then Solemn Warning, pretty much just for fodder. I needed a 40th card, and this was honestly the most optimal choice, I think. For the extra deck, there are a couple of things that I'm missing in the extra deck, but it's fine. It doesn't really matter. One copy of Time Star Magician. I don't play this too often enough to get out a second copy, but I feel like I should play a second copy just because of the fact of how powerful this thing is. To Foolish Burial, it can put magicians in the graveyard for you. You can search any dark spellcaster type monster you want just by detaching the Seeds material. 2400 attack. It's just so nice. Utopia. I don't have the lightning, so that's great. Magister Paladin. I don't even remember the last time I played this in playtesting, but it really doesn't matter anymore. Trapeze Magician. Never got that nice super rare treatment it should have had in an OTS pack, but it's whatever. This thing makes OTKs possible if you make it. Naruto as my one rank 6. This guy is really strong. There's plenty of level 6s in the deck, and by plenty I mean 3 that I can just think of off the top of my head, so it's whatever. Big Eye. I would have had this a lot sooner, but I just happened to pull one from Battles of Legend that just came out at my local Target earlier today, so they got them early, which has never happened before, so that's pretty cool. Red Ice Flare Metal, really good if you can't get the last few 100 damage and make this main phase 2. So nice. Absolute Dragon, same thing, it's just so good. Synchros, Odd Eyes, Meteor Burst Dragon. You can pretty much make this with ease on Absolute if you have the scale set correctly with the level 7 in the Pendulum scale. Clearwing. Clearwing is just one of my absolute favorite synchros of all time. Tuning Magician can make this go into Crystal Wing, which is so nice, and this is original rarity. I don't know if you guys care or not, but it's whatever. And then Ignister. I feel like any Pendulum deck that can use Ignister and Luster, it should be played no matter what. I am missing Cyframe Lord Omega. I didn't pull that from my packs earlier today, but it's no big deal. I'm sure it's super easy to get. And then Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon as well. I don't play Zark, pretty much for the fact that it's too gimmicky. Sure, it's a win more card, but I'm not always getting all the magicians out at the right time in order to go for Zark. Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon's the only actual fusion monster I play in the extra deck. So that's pretty much it for my final Pendulum Magician deck profile, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. But before I do sign off, my full opinions on what this deck does and how it's going to be affected by link summoning when they come out. The deck's strong. I know there's a lot of other players out there who have been able to make way more skillful and competitive versions of this deck. I mean, hell, South Korea's WCQ took first place with this deck, which is amazing. But as for when links come out, Pendulums are going to be a thing of the past. No one's going to play them just because of the fact that the scales have been moved to the back row. Instead of having their own scales, they're on zones now, so that'll be great. And the fact that you're only able to Pendulum summon one monster from your face-up extra deck, that's just so bad. I mean, Oath Dragon kind of fixes that if you have something really good to bring back from the Pendulum zone, but honestly, it's just going to be things that don't need an extra deck next format. So, nothing we can do about that, but I won't be playing a non-extra deck variation deck, I can guarantee you guys that. It's going to be Star Grails if you didn't know already. So that is it for this video, guys. Apologies for the monotone voice throughout the entire video. I haven't slept for a while, and I'm about to get on the road for my trip to Corpus. So if you guys got anything, if you understood anything for this deck, please let me know with a like, subscribe to my channel, and if you're here for Pokemon Go, stay subscribed because vlogs will be coming your way. Thank you all for watching. I'm BraxtonComix, signing out.